How's it, folks? The Firearms update, or patch 1.15, has just dropped for Dying Light 2, and it is a significant one. It changes quite a lot about it, and I'll go into more detail about some of those changes later, but first I want to cover some of the highlights in this patch. Firearms have been added as kind of the highlight of this patch. Pistols, SMGs, rifles, and shotguns. You will need to complete a mission to unlock the new agent and complete bounties for him to rank up with him to unlock different weapons, but you can start off with a pistol. And to get his mission, you basically just need to get into the central loop. So if you just recently started a new game or a new game plus, then try and rush through the early stage of the story if you want to play around with a couple of guns. And then there's something new called survivor missions and elite missions. So these are the missions that are focused towards co-op players, but you can fairly easily complete them by yourself, at least the standard difficulty ones. These are one of the main ways you'll get to upgrade the new agent that sells the new guns and co-op weapons. So he also sells weapons that perform better when you're playing in co-op. He also sells armor that performs better at night and weaker during the day. So might be a decent set of armor to try and farm some legend XP in if you can rank up with him. And if you're looking for ammunition for your guns, you can find them in chests near evacuation convoys or the military convoys, or in GRE facilities like the hospitals at the bottom floor. But you can also find them in the new armored barter variants. You know those barters that your axes bounce off of that you kind of need to use blunt weapons for, or parkour attacks? Those enemies are now worth taking out, as you can loot ammo off of them. So keep an eye out for armored enemies just to get a significant stash of ammo, because it is kind of rare to find. They've also added new board quests. So you know those boards that have been put up around the fisheye and around the PK's boat? There are a couple of new quests around there which pretty much have you follow some tracks or pick up some rare ingredients or whatnot, and then drop off the reward or drop off whatever you picked up at one of the carrier drop-off points. And then that will also give you a chest that gives you, I think, 4 of the orange crystals. And then it also gives you something called legend tokens, which you can exchange back at the Craftmaster for legend XP. And speaking of crystals, it's one of the things they fixed in this patch was the crystals have been re-added to those little rocks that you break open. They are back there now. They've also added a new thing called anniversary bounties. So the first reward for the anniversary bounty is that harpoon gun thing that was shown off in the trailer way back when Dying Light was first pretty much announced. And it was kind of thrown around in certain mod packs. But now you can get it as part of an actual game. You have to complete 4 bounties. It doesn't take too long to do. And then next week, the Nocturnal Tribal Machete will be the reward for that anniversary bounty, and then the week after that will be the Acolyte outfit from the following DLC for the original Dying Light 1 game. So the hybrid weapon, the Scorpio that I was talking about earlier, it's basically a big, chunky, 2-handed mace weapon that you can also press R or whatever the reload button is on console, and then that will swap it over to the harpoon. It also comes with the blueprint to craft the harpoons, as well as the blueprint to craft the new Scorpio if you want to change up some of its stats. And on top of that, there are 2 Dying Light packs that you can claim. The first one is part of the Dying Light store for free until, I think it was March the 7th, which comes with an outfit and 2 weapons and the blueprints for them as well. And then there's also a new Pilgrim outfit, along with weapons, paraglider, new crossbow that also comes with a knockback effect when infected come too close, and a new weapon that's very good at dealing stance meter damage or to get those combat finishers knocked out of the way. Speaking of some of the environmental upgrades, they've made improvements to the foliage system. Trees and grass models were upgraded, added variety to bolt-in interiors in Region 2, and hopefully they'll keep adding more variety to different interiors. Visual changes to some of the locations of the city for a more realistic look. Car improvements. Some car models have been replaced with new ones, and others have been improved. The logic for vehicles' placement on the roads has also been revised. More environmental storytelling. Various environmental assets upgraded, for example crates, furniture, mailboxes, and things like that. New skybox textures. Fixes to the lighting system. Barters and virals have gone for an overhaul, and they've also upgraded models and clothing on them, and then they've also added a couple more variants of both Bounties and Firearms as well. Hair quality improvements and water reaction improvements. Then there's also a new enemy variant. 2 years in the Villador is plenty of time for enemies to adapt to Aiden's new arsenal and techniques. So we decided to add a new enemy to the roster, the Renegade Grenadier. With the Firearms update, we are also improving already existing enemies, which will now be smarter and have a more balanced damage output. Electric Bounties and Viral's elemental effects are now less lethal and can be avoided with a timely dash. This is such a massive change because I got so irritated with almost always getting hit with the electric Bounties just by killing them. Now you can actually just dodge out of the way, and I'm quite happy with that. They've also identified and fixed Spitter's toxic damage pool stacking and balanced Spitter's mortar attack frequency. The duration of Elemental Goon's elemental puddles has been reduced and now allows for melee attacks when approached from a right angle. And then Banshees now make use of the Goon Caller SAR, so they can basically jump on top of the Goon Caller as well. And then they've also added 11 new Nocturnal variants: the Medieval Mace, Engine Bludgeon, Verbum, Ishmael, Heavy Duty, Monarch, Reliable Axe, Stud, Enso Katana, Smash, Construction Hammer as well. And speaking of the legend level improvements, from now on you will keep your legend level XP when resurrected by survivors, and they've also added 50 new levels, so you can now reach a platinum tier above the current gold tier, which comes in Master, which reduces stamina cost of all weapons attacks, Immortal, heal on damage dealt to enemies with melee weapons, Expert, increased damage done with skills, Tank, reduces damage taken, Hero, gives a chance to land critical hits with all weapon attacks. And due to this addition, we've adjusted the price of the respec for level 250 and above. It's now 50,000 gold coins. Moreover, we have added the effects of the Sniper upgrade to the Hunter upgrade, and Sniper upgrade will now be solely for the Firearms. The Survivor upgrade has also been reworked to increase the stamina damage dealt by all weapon attacks. That used to be something like recovery after falling or something completely meaningless. And the Sniper upgrade can increase weapon damage with your Firearms by about 25% when maxed out as well. And then there's also a new legendary bounty. If you complete it, will give you about, I think it's 10,000 legend XP, and it refreshes each week. And on top of that, every additional New Game Plus you start will increase the XP multiplier. So basically, the more New Game Plus you've gone through, the more XP you'll earn. And then some of the more technical changes in terms of the update. Under co-op, fixed a duplication glitch allowing players to pick up DLC items they did not own, including event and shop items. And fixed an issue that sometimes prevented the use of Night Runner tools after joining a host session. Then with gameplay, with the arrival of Firearms, we reimagined how bows and crossbows should work. We rebalanced them so now they will fit into a different niche. They buffed bows by making longer charge shots which deal more damage, bullet spread is increased, and greater damage dealt to distant enemies. They adjusted crossbows by a comparable damage to Firearms at close range, magazine size changed to 4, and headshot multiplier has increased to a 3.2 times multiplier. They've tweaked Aiden's scream frequency when taking toxic damage, fixed an issue with crystal cores missing while looting chemical crystal containers, removed the invisible wall that sometimes appeared in elevator shaft during the honey quest, resolved bug which made throwing knives and shurikens not show incorrect values, adjusted the guards from the show must go on quest blocking the entrance even after finishing the mission, tweaked the issue which caused sometimes double kick execution from one activation, fixed an issue with dropkick sometimes causing the player to clip through the door, leaving the player stuck in a room, fixed an issue with objective marker sometimes being placed improperly in the Bloody Towers DLC, fixed an issue with the Pilgrim missions pop-up windows sometimes randomly appearing during gameplay, fixed an issue with human enemies sometimes not running away from ignited gas tank on Barter's back, cleaned some elevator shafts from floating terrains, now you'll be able to climb more seamlessly, fixed the knife power attack sometimes not consuming stamina, fixed infected ability to chase a player even through the walls of inactive electrical stations, fixed visibility of UV flare smoke, destroyed Barter's gas tanks now disappear properly after the explosion, tweaked the bug disallowing new weapons to be constructed with inventory full but available space in the stash. And then under the technical side of things, fixed multiple instances of meshes not shown properly or missing textures in Trinity, Houndfield, Garrison, and downtown districts. Fixed an issue with assets sometimes clipping through each other in the Houndfield and Trinity districts. Fixed an issue where the natural light was present inside the water tower during the day despite being no windows or doors. Tweaked Jack Mat to be properly displayed during the dialogue in one of the missions. Various environmental assets are now properly displayed. Fixed the crash that sometimes happened when progressing to the second region. Tweaked textures that sometimes were missing on barricades and towers. Removed cables improperly displayed on the antenna. Fixed an issue sometimes spawning players behind the walls of Metro Station after unlocking that location. Fixed an issue sometimes spawning player inside the atrium after respawning. Tweaked the possibility to get stuck while climbing on the top of a fireplace. Lighting is now displayed properly while changing visual quality from low to ray tracing. Updated and fixed the textures of cars around the game. Fixed an issue causing game to freeze after clicking large miniature appearance table in gear section. Tweaked the lighting display in various structures, rooms, and elevator shafts. Tweaked the problem when players were able to get stuck outside Bazaar during New Game Plus. Removed part of the roof sometimes floating incorrectly in Garrison region. Fixed an issue with no mesh asset sometimes showing up in Maya's hideout. Fixed an issue with Aiden's voice sometimes being quieter outside of cinematic dialogues. Fixed an issue where sometimes gas tanks and electric boxes appeared floating in the second region. Fixed the issue with objective get inside the chapel, sometimes not updating after reaching the chapel. Tweaked an issue with windmill sometimes not being displayed properly during cutscene. Patched an issue where dropped weapons could not be picked up. Fixed some instances where the player can sometimes get stuck in assets. Fixed the issue with the skybox sometimes not showing textures during storm weather. Tweaked the dock floor, which sometimes became invisible when viewed from below. Fixed the problem with sound not triggering during picking up various heavy objects. Patched various crashes and FPS drops. Tweaked an issue where players sometimes being stuck between PKs in the VNC tower. Fixed the title crashes when quickly pressing change user while having a guest account connected. And then lastly, under the UI changes, sorting by damage when advanced weapon view is active now takes into consideration base damage, legend affixes, and gear bonus instead of base damage only. Updated the visuals of the UI in the menu. Fixed rectangle above the completed quest details. Tweaked improper phasing in the Metro Station's tutorial. Tweaked the issue removing text and description displayed for the grappling hook crosshair setting in the HUD menu. Tweaked the issue where certain polearm names and descriptions were missing. Enhanced the visuals of tutorials throughout the game. Tolga and Fatin aren't part of this update just yet. They're coming out on the 29th of February, so next week sometime. So that's not part of this initial patch, but I'm pretty sure their files were added with this patch. It's only going to be activated next week. So there is quite a lot to cover, and I'm still going to make more videos, especially about the actual guns and whatnot. But to do that, I'm going to need to complete more of the bounties to actually unlock some of them. I'll also probably make some videos about how to complete those different missions, assuming they are the only ones present and they don't alternate between different ones. And then one final tip I noticed was at Jay's, where you actually unlock all those weapons, those firearms, you can now purchase the Night Runner XP booster. So maybe level him up a bunch of times to unlock that before you try and farm more Legend XP at night, just to try and make it a little bit more efficient. I hope you all have a fantastic day. Take care and cheers for now. Activated next week.